Okay, good morning. First of all, we know accounting concept, convention and principle. So when we think about the concept is a term. So this term is important because when we think about the accounting, there are lots of terms. All the terms it's important. When we think about the term, there are different types of terms. All the terms we are studying today. So first of all, we know meaning and importance of accounting concept. So accounting is means communicating the result of business operation to various pattern interested in or connected with the business. Why it's the owner, creditor, investor, bank, financial institute, government and other agency. Hence, it is the right call as a language of a business. So remember. So first of all, we know what is meant by language. Language means this is a tool. This is a tool. Using that tool, we communicate with our parents, with our relative, with our friends. Means when we want to communicate with our relatives, friends, other things, that time we must require one tool that means language. If your communicating language is Marathi, then this is your tool. If your communicating language is English, this is your tool. But when we deal with any transaction, that time our language is accounting. This language is useful to investor, owner, creditor, bank or financial institution because all the things require only accounting language. So what do you mean by accounting? Accounting means communicating the result of business operation to various parties. So accounting is not only associated with business but also with everybody who is interested in keeping up an account of the monetary transaction. So first of all, we know what is meant by monetary. Monetary means, yes, what is meant by monetary?
Cash is involved.
If in any transaction there is the cash involved, that's what we call monetary. So account of the monetary transaction, generally the term accounting refer the financial account, bookkeeping and accountancy is an art of recording, classifying, summarizing transactions of a business concern in a systematic manner. When we think about the accounting it's very must because accounting is the language of business. What is mean by language? What is mean by language? Anyone any idea about language? What is mean by language? Before 2 minutes ago, I have already told that thing. So what is mean by language? Language is an instrument. Using that instrument, we communicate with different types of people. Means when we want to communicate with our friend, with our relatives, that time we mostly require language. As like when we are dealing related to accounting, that time we must require a accounting. Means if you want to deal any transaction, that time we must require a accounting. So importance of accounting concept. There is a one first point. That point means reliable of financial statement. So what is meant by reliable? Yes, anyone any idea that words we had to discuss before some time ago means our second or third lecture means characters of accounting. So there is a one word reliable information. So what is mean by reliable? Anyone any idea about reliable? If you have lots of idea, so speak now. What is mean by reliable? Okay, reliable financial statement. Second, uniformity in presenting. Third, generally acceptable basis of measurement. And next point, proper information to all. And last one is valid and appropriate assumption. These are an information. These are an important point in accounting. So when we think about the accounting is required for valid information. Accounting is required for all the assumption. But remember, when we think about the concept, there is the first concept. That concept means business entity. So first of all, we know business and we know entity. If we know business entity, definitely you understand. As like when we think about the businessman. If a businessman has a one house, but remember one thing, that house is not owned by business. That house businessman take for rented basis. Remember, if a businessman take a house for rented basis and half of this house they have to use for business. Remember, if the cost of rent for 1 year is 25,000, I am going to explain once again. If you are a businessman and you are acquiring one asset for business purpose as well as personal purpose, the cost of rent of that house is 25,000. Remember, 25,000 means you are also living in that house and you are also running your business in that house. But if the rent of that house is 25,000, rent of that house is 25,000, that time 12,500 is the amount related to business and 12,500 is the amount related to your personal and 12,500 it's amount related to business. That's what I call business entity. No any personal transaction involved in the business. That is the meaning of business entity. What is meant by business entity? No any personal transaction enter into the business. That's what we call drawing. That's what we call personal income. That's what we call personal expenses. Such as if I have a house and that house I am using for business. So remember, definitely rent of that house I distributed between two parts. Example, half of a building is used for business office and other half of building is used for a residence of the proprietor. If the total rent of building is 50,000, then only 25,000 will deducted as a drawing from proprietor's capital. So first of all, we know what is meant by business entity. Business entity means no any businessman enter their personal income, personal expenses into the business. That is the meaning of business entity. Entity means existence. Remember, means the concept implies that a business unit is a separate, no any combined. Business is separate, our personal expenses is separate. Separate and distinct from the owner of the owner, that is the personal who supply capital to it. Based on concept, accounts are prepared from the point of view of the business and not for the owner's point of view. Hence, the business is liable to the owner for the capital contributed by him or her. Remember, I know in every person's mind create one question. Businessman invested some money into business. That time we call capital. So capital is the property of businessman. Remember, this is their personal property, but remember this is a liability. What is mean by liability? What is mean by liability?
Payable thing.
Payable thing by the business. Remember, if I am a businessman and I invested 5 lakh rupees in the business, what is my liability from business? 5 lakh rupees. That is a liability. Means capital is not a personal thing of business. Capital is also liability of a business. That's what we call business entity. Business is the separate unit. No any personal transaction enter into the business, such as if I am going to hospital and I use 2,000 rupees for paying to doctor, but that my rupees is not mine. That money involved in the business. But that expenses is related to my personal thing. That time this transaction is not entered into books of account. That's what we call drawings. Drawings is always deducted from capital. Drawings. Before some time ago, we have already studied about drawing. What is meant by drawing? If any businessman use some goods or some money for personal use, that's what we call drawing. Remember. What is meant by business entity? No any businessman enter their personal transaction into business. Means if I have a building, half of that building I use for office and half of that building I use for residence, that times I treated only 25,000 as a business concern. Who is one explain what is the meaning of business entity? What is the meaning of business entity? Okay, so that is the first concept. No any personal transaction enter into the books of account. All the personal transaction is different from business transaction. Remember, that is the first and important concept. Means if in the problem enter some commodity or some things used for personally, used for personal basis, that time this is a drawing. Because we know what is meant by drawing. Drawing means if anything we use for personally, that's what we call drawing. Sometimes drawing is used for us, sometimes drawing is useful for our relatives, friends, as like etc. So because of that, first point is important, business entity. What is the meaning of business entity? No any personal transaction enter into the books of account. Means according to this concept, only business transactions are recorded into books of accounts. Personal transactions of the owner are not recorded. That is the first concept. No any personal transaction you enter into the account, but the transaction with the business such as a capital contributed to business or cash withdrawn from the business for the personal use will be recorded in the books of account. Means when we think about the capital invested by the business, this is the liability of a business, this is not a personal property of a business. Means no any personal transaction enter into the business. That is the first concept. Second point, money measurement. What is the meaning of money measurement? The concept implies if any businessman purchase some asset as like two chair, as like one table, on that point, that businessman does not enter only one table, two chairs. That businessman enter the value of that asset. Businessman enter the value of that asset. Means when we express any money, anything, the cost, anything cost. Such as if any businessman enter any product cost, any asset cost, any liability cost into term of money. Into term of money, that's what we call money measurement. It's like when we have to purchase any furniture, we have no idea about furniture, but business enters only numerical value of cost. Means this concept implies that only those transactions which can be expressed in terms of money. If in the business we express any transaction in terms of money, that's what we call money measurement. As like goodwill. What is meant by goodwill?
Reputation.
reputation of a business. So when we express goodwill into term of money, that's what we call money measurement. Means expressed in term of money are recorded in the books of account. Since money served as the medium of exchange transaction, expressed in money are recorded and the ruling currency of a country, it is a measuring unit for accounting. What is the first concept? Business entity. What is the meaning of business entity? No any personal transaction enter into the business. Business is the separate unit, but business does not involve any personal property, any personal transaction of the proprietor. That is the first point. What is the second point? All the exchange of things we express into term of money. That's what you call money measurement concept. If that transaction is not involved in the money, that time this transaction we never enter into books of account. So if there is no money, that time this is called barter system. What is the meaning of barter system? What is the meaning of barter system? Do you know barter? Lots of time I use that word in my speaking, in my lecture. Do you know barter? Do you know or not know? If you know, so say something. What is the meaning of barter? Barter related to non-monetary transaction. So what is the meaning of non-monetary transaction? What is the meaning of non-monetary transaction? Okay. So come to our point. Our point said that money measurement. Money measurement means anything, otherwise any commodity we express into term of money. That's what to call money measurement. For example, if a business has a 5 computers, 2 tables and 3 chairs, the asset cannot be added to give a useful information unless they are expressed into monetary terms, such as 1,50,000 for computer, 15,000 and tables, 2,500 for chair. Remember. When we enter something into numerical form, that's what we call money measurement. The next point, cost concept. So what is meant by cost concept? An asset is recorded in the books of account basis on the historical cost, that is the acquisition cost. Cost of acquisition will be based on all further accounting. It does not mean that asset which always be shown as a cost. Remember. Means if I purchased a mobile before 2 months ago, but on that times I purchased mobile for rupees 10,000. Means 2 months ago I purchased mobile for 10,000, but now this mobile cost is 8,000. Which amount I enter into account? 10,000 या 8,000. I enter into account only 10,000, not 8,000. I purchased mobile before 2 months ago for 10,000. This is an historical cost. This is an acquisition cost. Such as furniture is purchased for rupees 3 lakh and same cost has been recorded in the books of account. In case the market value goes on 1 lakh or 1,50,000, it will not be considered. Remember. Means before 2 months ago I purchased a mobile for 10,000, means I entered only 10,000 into books of account, but now this mobile cost is 8,000, but I enter only 10,000 into my books of account. That is the cost concept. What is the first point? Business entity. What is the meaning of business entity? What is the meaning of business entity?
No any personal transaction enter the business account.
Okay, can you give me an example? Samruddhi? Please one give me one example. Please one give me one example related to business entity. Okay. What is the second point? What is our second point?
Money
Money
measurement.
management.
What is the meaning of money measurement? What is the meaning of money measurement? Anyone any idea about money measurement? All the commodity, all the assets we express into term of money, that's how to call money measurement concept, because accounting only know only numerical form. So that's why we enter the value of any asset, any commodity into term of money. The next point, cost concept. So remember, an asset is required. An asset is recorded in the books of account on the basis of historical cost, such as if I purchased mobile before 2 months ago, that time there was mobile cost 10,000, but now this mobile cost is 8,000. I never recognize any decrease value or increase value in the cost concepts. I enter only 10,000 into my books of account. Then consistency. Remember, consistency. Any policy adopted for accounting should be continuous or consistency throughout the business, and it need not be changed generally unless until circumstances demand. Remember, means when Government of India implemented GST into the market in 1st July 2017, that time they have to implement that law, they have to implement that act, not only 1 year, not only 2 years. If any circumstances conditions happen, then they will be changed. Means these policies, these things will be continued. That's how to call consistency. Means this thing regularly working, such as any policies adopted for accounting should be continuous, means do not stop until no any circumstances condition happen in the business. Means a company adopted fixed installment method for charging depreciation on fixed asset from the beginning till the end of estimated life of an asset. So first of all, so anyone any idea about depreciation? What is meant by depreciation? Just I am going to explain one example. If I purchase a bike for rupees 15,000, I know my bike will be live only 10 years. So because of that, I save 5,000 rupees every year. I acquired, I deposited 5,000 rupees every year, means 5,000 is the less amount of every asset. So depreciation means decrease the value of asset. Remember, decrease the value of asset. There are two methods. First one is fixed installment method and second one is a written down value method. So fixed installment method and written down value method, both the methods are different from each other. Remember, consistency. In some companies adopted some special policies such as fixed installment method or such as the written down value method. There are too much differences. So fixed installment method means we charge depreciation on a total cost. What is meant by total cost? When I purchased any asset, that time I charge some cost. I paid some cost. That's what you call total cost. Means consistency. Any company adopted any policy for more than 1 year. Any company adopted any policy for more than 1 year till it become a circumstances happen, means however it does not stop any improvement for a new technique, but that should be disclosed with a note. Means if when we want to complete, when we stop any policy, that time we write one note. Means company adopted fixed installment methods for charging depreciation on fixed assets from the beginning till the end of estimated life of an asset. Means when company adopted any policy, that time this policy is not for 1 year, 6 months, 2 year, 3 year, as like etc. That policy is working in the business till it become any circumstances condition is not happen in the business. That's what to call consistency. What is our first point? What is our first concept?
Business entity.
Business entity. What is the meaning of business entity? What is the meaning of business entity? Anyone any idea about business entity? Okay, what is the second concept?
Money measurement.
Okay, can you explain? Can you explain that concept with your own word? Okay, and consistency means any policy is adopted any company for more than 1 year, means 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years till it become any circumstances condition is not happen. That's what called consistency. The next point is convertism. So remember, while recording the business transaction, we have to anticipate no profit but provided all possible losses. So remember, if in the starting of a year I purchase a 10 mobile, on that time a one mobile cost is 10,000, means I invested 1 lakh rupees into my business. Remember, at the starting point of year, I invested 1 lakh rupees into business, means I purchased 10 mobile. Each mobile cost is 10,000. But at the end of year, I sold only 5 mobiles, means 5 mobiles has remained. Means 5 mobiles has remained. That time, the cost of 5 mobiles is 50,000. The Cost of 5 mobiles is 50,000, but according to the condition, according to the circumstances, the mobile cost is 40,000. The mobile cost is 40,000. So I enter into my account only 40,000, not a 50,000. That is our next concept. Means at the starting point of year, I purchased 10 mobile for 1 lakh rupees, but at the end of year, in my business, there is only 5 mobiles. The all mobile cost is 15,000, but according to market condition, the 5 mobile cost is 40,000. I enter into my books of account only 40,000. Such as the clothing stock in the factory is valued 25,000 at a cost price and 35,000. It's a market price, but fine, according the books of the value 25,000 will be considered being the lowest of all. Means all the business expected only all possible losses. No any business recognize net profit or net loss in the business of asset in the business. Means remember, what is mean by convertism? No any business expected any possible profit, but business expected all possible losses. That's what to call convertism. Means business takes lowest value of asset, such as market price or such as cost price. Which is amount is lowest, that amount business is take. That's what to call convertism. I hope everyone understand all concept. Anyone any doubt about concepts? Everyone understand? Yes.
Sir, please
Yes.
repeat again business entity.
Okay. So remember, if I'm a businessman, I'm using one building. But that buildings I use for hobbies as well as my personal thing. Means that buildings I use for hobbies as well as my living conditions. So remember. But remember that building I acquired on a rented vessel. Rented vessel. That time the building rent is 40,000. Building rent is 40,000. That time half of these buildings I use for business and half building I use for personal thing. But I enter into my account only 20,000. I enter into my account only 20,000, not 40,000. I know these buildings I use for my business as well as for living condition as well as residence. But personal transaction is not enter into books of account. Personal transaction is separate from books of account. That is the simple meaning. No any personal transaction enter into books of account. That is the meaning of business entity. No any personal transaction involved into business account. No. I pressed one word that means no. Do you understand, Rutuja?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Another one. Anyone any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is your problem?
Sir, I don't understand the many measurement point.
Okay. If you purchase a furniture, that time you pay some money. But how you recognize the cost of furniture according to market condition? We have no idea about any asset, anything, but we express that term into money. Remember? Means when we express anything into term of money, means if I'm going to shop and I purchase a raincoat, I purchase a stationery, but I have no idea the cost of stationery, cost of raincoat. But that time shopkeeper said me the cost of stationery is 100 rupees. Means I enter the stationery cost into term of money. That's what to call money measurement concept. Means anything we enter in term into money. Is another one. Okay, I hope everyone understand very well all the points. So everyone enter your roll number once again.